fundamental issues have already been raised by President Sean Kembo. This list is an expanded list of the Council of Leaders of the Tonse Alliance, which was worked through during the period of January to the month of March 2023. His Excellency, 2025, sorry. His Excellency, Wallace in South Africa, he did dedicate a lot of time through my office to contact all the council leaders and to engage them to find out the specific roles he thought they would play in the Council of Leaders. And he did assign titles and responsibility to each person. Above all, he did go beyond that because it is the expanded Council of Leaders to identify a number of PF members of Parliament, a number of PF members of Central Committee, as well as some of the PF Council chairpersons and other PF supporters or stakeholders to integrate them into the expanded Council of Leaders of the Tonse Alliance. And of course, the acting president of the PF, Honorable Given Lubinda, is aware about this list because on 3rd March 2025, His Excellency did assign me and he did physically send me to go and meet him at his residence to discuss this list in detail so that the acting president could also input. I would like to confirm that Honorable Lubinda, I met him for almost for some hours and he had an input. After the death of His Excellency, of course, I also went back to engage him that we needed to go back to the list which His Excellency approved because he was now the acting person. Last month, I had a detailed meeting at his residence once more to try to plan together and strategize on how best we could move the alliance together within the framework of the legacy and the vision of ECL. Today, suffice to mention that the meeting which was disrupted in the morning, this afternoon we reconvened, and of course, this is the list I would like to unveil. It's a detailed list because it's divided into two parts. The expanded Council of Leaders of the Tonse Alliance is divided into two parts. The first part is the Politburo Cabinet. It has got 26 members. So the Politburo Cabinet is the highest organ of decision-making organ within the Council of Leaders.
Good day and welcome to today's broadcast. For all those joining us on social media, whether you are on Facebook, on my page, Grindstone and other stations, Smart Eagles and other pages, welcome. Today, we privilege that even channels like Revelation TV are following us. We are hosting Brebner Changala. Is a civil society leader, I think very resolute, very strong voice. The last 2 years, I think he spent it trying to unite the opposition. You saw his efforts with political parties that resulted in the United Kwacha Alliance. He is also somehow associated with Tonse. But his quest, whether it is Zambia we want, Tonse, Uka, Brebner has championed the cause for the unity in opposition, that the opposition must be united, be brought together by things that can bring them together than things that divide them. And then there has been an issue of Bill 7. I'm glad that there are developments. First, let me just take time to welcome our special guest, Brebner Changala. Honorable Brebner Changala, welcome to today's program. Sorry, my audio's. let me sort out my audios, Honorable Brebner Changala. Just a minute. I should be with you. Nina technician, I am everything. I am everything. So you have to excuse me. Yeah. So we are hosting Honorable Brebner Changala today to discuss various issues. Today, he has been very instrumental in issues of the Constitution. He's been very instrumental in issues. Let me just ensure that we are on this box. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll be back. Let me just play a small video that should allow me to set up Honorable Brebner Changala properly. Thank you very much. Let me just...
When I say
Patrick, the box is not set up. The box.
Zambia, we must answer one nation. One nation, one people. One Zambia? No. You should be proud of your country. I noticed that the National Anthem was being sung here and some chiefs were seated. Please, we must respect our country. We must be proud of our country. So I shall repeat, one Zambia, one nation, one people. We shall repeat, one Zambia, one nation, one people. Exactly one people. When I say
I'm also aware of the electricity problems that Zambia is facing. But despite the problems that we have with the supply of electricity in Zambia, you still supply us with electricity. Again, you would have said, we cannot sacrifice our power when we have shortage. But you still give us. Katima Mlilo town, where I come from here, is supplied with power from Zambia. When you have a power outage here, we also have power outage. But that's the brotherhood we are talking about, the neighborhood we're talking about. And we should only be grateful and continue to exist in this manner. You spoke also about the Vals-Bendola-Lumbumbashi corridor. I want to tell Your Honor that that corridor was developed during our time. I was Permanent Secretary of Works and Transport. And my counterpart here was Judge Sichinga, Dominic.
The power issue, I think, is huge here. And colleagues, we continue to share everything. The issue of power, SC, you know, when you are in a country like mine, when we have passed through a lot of load shedding, people say, oh, so you see, they are selling power to Namibia. This is a town in Namibia, very close to Zambia. We are talking of one-stop border, for example. And if you have one town with blackout, then how do you do 24-hour? But this was an agreement, that is the only thing I would add, was an agreement that was signed in 2020 between Zambia and Namibia. And you don't give up or relegate such commitments. As you have seen, Zambia is a reliable friend to everybody that they work with. So we don't just say because the situation has come, when in fact there is no other solution on the other side. That's why we are also importing power, as the others are, you know, getting a bit, just a bit of power from here. We will continue. Let's invest it together in the systems, like I said, in renewable sources of energy. Together we can develop and be interconnected and ensure that there is no disruption in our economic development, because power has so much on that.
Thank you. Just a small glitch, and we apologize. Honorable Brebner Changala, welcome to today's broadcast, and thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening to your viewers.
Honorable Brebner Changala, today the Catholic bishops have issued an urgent emergency pastoral letter, I think condemning maneuvers to set up and establish the Bill 7 or retable it in Parliament. And there were other voices that expressed concern at this urgent session that was called. And then we have communication that has come from the speaker. But before we go there, I played a video here of Mr. Zumani Zimba, flanked by KBF, Chanoda Ngwira, and a leader of the opposition in Parliament. I still call him that, Brian Mundubile. There seems to be issues in what you've been promoting. You've been promoting unity in the opposition, but what we are seeing is cracks. The brief matter is that Sean Tembo, who's a spokesperson of Tonse Alliance, and I happen to be his deputy, by the way, I'm the deputy spokesperson, called for a meeting of Tonse meeting of council or leaders. I think there were concerns around that call because you have a leadership led by acting president of the Patriotic Front, Given Lubinda, and Secretary General of Tonse, Nakachinda. However, this meeting appeared to have proceeded, but it was disrupted by youths, a matter everyone has condemned, including myself. And so I want us to start with this because you, even to the last day when the late president, before he passed on, you were communicating with him. What are your views about first the state of the opposition and in particular the issue around Tonse, since you were very instrumental in coordinating with the late president and to ensure that Tonse, becomes vibrant and joins other opposition forces to then challenge President Hakainde Hichilema? Let me just invite your comments around this matter.
Good evening once again, and good evening your viewers, to your viewers. The issue of the opposition, and indeed the issue of Tonse, was center at the heart of the late president, ECL. There is no moment that I spoke to him that we didn't end up discussing Tonse. Now, what is happening in Tonse is very sad. It's very sad in the sense that people are failing to call out the men who are causing confusion in Tonse. Tonse is the last hope for the people of Zambia. And Tonse has got more than plus or minus 11 presidents, which means 11 political parties. But I want to tell you that the challenges that Tonse faces today, they are the challenges that was faced in Uka. The drivers, or indeed those who go to form this organization, tend to have the spirit and the monopoly of ownership. That is the starting point. They abuse that courtesy which is extended to them. And the other problem in Tonse is lack of respect for the established leadership. There is resistance to recognize the pyramid or indeed the hierarchy. Tonse has many political parties, but it has an anchor party, the lead party, which is the Patriotic Front. And a chair or acting chairman must come from the Patriotic Front. Anything else follows if you read their own constitution. And what is frightening is that there are individuals who do not recognize Lubinda. If they indeed recognize him, they demean him. When Tonse calls a meeting where Lubinda will chair that meeting, they will not attend. And yet, they will come later and rubbish the resolutions of that meeting. There is a question of humility and respect for others. Because those who want to lead, they must first be led. They must agree to be led. What happened yesterday, where a Tonse meeting, for the first time, was convened by, quote unquote, a national coordinator. Again, what I've been briefed, it was not done with consultation, in consultation with the chairman. Because what has happened in Tonse, PF was split in two. There is a Tonse which is led by Given Rwinda, rightly so. There is a Tonse which is, there is a PF which is led by Brian Mundubile and others who are members of parliament. And this is problematic. Problematic in the sense that the Mundubile faction has for some reason refused to subordinate itself.
Brebner, just a minute. Are you saying, are you saying that you are seeing two factions in the Patriotic Front? One led by acting president Given Lubinda and another led by, leader of the opposition in parliament, Brian Mundubile. Is that what you are saying?
I can't hear you.
Oh, let me repeat. I'm saying, are you saying that the Patriotic Front are split into two factions, one led by Given Lubinda and the other one led by Brian Mundubile, leader of the opposition in parliament?
So it seems. And it's the PF led by Mundubile in the Tonse that seems to be favorable to a group that does not recognize the Lubinda-led faction. Now, you can't run an organization anchored on indiscipline. You can't lead an organization where you are all not pulling in one direction. The PF differences should be sorted out at the PF Secretariat. The Tonse issues are supposed to be handled by the Tonse pyramid establishment. So in other words, even when they are going to Tonse, Lubinda and Brian Mundubile must move in one motor vehicle, must go and sit together. They must strategize together as a unity. But that's not the case today.
Yeah. Let me just play what happened yesterday. Is that there's this meeting that was called by the national coordinator and the Patriotic Front leadership apparently didn't seem to be aware of it. This is a meeting between, that was called by Honorable Sean Tembo. But some MPs, led by Bran Mundubile, said they will attend the meeting. Honorable Given Lubinda and Nakachinda didn't seem to be aware because I think they were being called into this meeting. Here is what the MPs today said who attended. Just listen to this, Honorable Brebner Changala.
Okay, so good afternoon, fellow countrymen. We are members of parliament under Patriotic Front, and we are gathered here to just raise a concern that happened yesterday. Yesterday, everyone, I'm sure, is aware that there was a meeting that was supposed to have taken place. Whether legal or illegal, we feel that as members of parliament, one concerning item that happened, the violence and the thuggery that took place yesterday, we would like, as members of parliament from PF, to condemn in the strongest terms that we, as we go through the path of rebranding, we do not want to see that kind of behavior. And we hope that if indeed those that are involved are Patriotic Front members, we hope that the Secretary General will take remedial measures to ensure that discipline is maintained. Discipline is maintained in our party as we are preparing to go and have an elective conference. I'm sure that everyone is aware that we, as the Patriotic Front, are preparing to go for an elective conference, and therefore, we, in this transitional period, we hope that there will be discipline that will be maintained and unity. The Zambian people are depending on us as an alternative government. Therefore, we pray and make an earnest appeal to the leadership that is in place to ensure that there is discipline and unity and love in the party. This will ensure that we are also going to attract membership, because as we sit now, the Zambian people's hope is only in a united opposition. Therefore, we need to ensure that our youths are behaving in an environment and behaving correctly to show that indeed we are ready to take over the governance of this country. Whatever happened yesterday, whether that meeting where there was a Honorable President Sean Tembo, President KBF, we saw also our former Secretary General, we also saw Mumbipiri, Honorable Mumbipiri, Ambassador, we also saw Ms. Honorable Ngambi. Whether that meeting was gathered illegally or illegally, I think that dialogue must be promoted. Dialogue, reconciliation, we need to ensure that these two elements.
Honorable Chisopa, giving his side of the story, I think he has recognized that the meeting may not have been legal, but the emphasis by the MPs was on the violence where youths disrupted that meeting. I think that was the MP's emphasis. But I think in my view, even the convening of that meeting, if it was illegal, must be condemned with the same weight as we are condemning the violence. You were just explaining, and I want to draw you to a list that was released by Zuman Zimba, because you seem to have some knowledge about it.
Yeah, first and foremost, I must first concur with the members of parliament. Violence must not be tolerated. Violence is what cost PF an election. But we must also condemn leadership that dares to do things in a manner that provokes others. You see, the issue of Tonse is a matter of national unity. There isn't one party. I already told you there must be 10 to 11 political parties there. But there is one political party and participant in Tonse that seems to be troublemaking all the time, and it gets away with that. And nobody wants to resolve that issue until the issue of anarchy, the issue of demeaning others must be discussed. Period to all the problems that have come up, I had engaged Honorable Chief Mubanda as if I knew what was coming up. I asked Honorable Chief Mubanda State Council to meet Honorable Nakachinda and draw up a program or some form of an agenda to go and settle to other political parties for a meeting. Because Tonse hasn't been meeting, and whenever they have met, certain individuals stay away, as I told you in the meetings. And it's that, like in Tonse, there is a superior group that must dictate. Because even the suspensions, the letters, the way they fly on social media, there is no management skills. Internal matters are thrown to social media every time there are some differences. So it's very sad that adults who want to form government can behave like children in the kindergarten. It's very, very sad. Now, if we go to the list that was produced yesterday, I must place a confirmation on record that there were discussions to have that people appointed. I used to talk to ECL, and at some point, ECL referred Zumani to me to help him add or subtract on the list. And the instructions was that when all is said and done, Zumani must surrender that list to Acting President Lubinda, who must take it to the Central Committee for consideration and later on approval, because majority players on that list were Patriotic Front. This is a list that I used to push when it took too long to come out. Zumani used to tell me, the boss, I have given him everything, but he's not acting. And I will call ECL, why are you not acting on that list so that everybody can know what position they are holding in Tonse? President ECL told me that he was not happy with that list. He needed further consultations. So this also explains to you that that list is quite old. I think November, December, January or thereabout, or February or thereabout. For it to come out posthumously after the chair has died is problematic. That list, I have seen a lot of irregularities on that list, because there are some people who are not even on that list when it was taken to ECL. That list was not approved by ECL. No wonder it never came out. But again, this is where we have a challenge. That list has been announced by people who are not PF, but who are members of Tonse, to recruit PF members of parliament. And yet, PF as a leadership of Lubinda and Nakachinda. This is to divide the Patriotic Front further. And yet we are all fighting day in and day out for unity of purpose. Every Zambian wants the opposition to unite, but there's no way you can unite in such a spirit. You are leading an organization, a political party like the Patriotic Front. Somebody else is going to make announcements and appointments in your political party. But the caveat which one must take was, did Lubinda receive that list? And if he did he take it to the Central Committee? And if he did, what did the Central Committee say? Did they approve that list? It's a very simple process which you can resolve without much acrimony. But there is this tug of war in which
I think
every political party,
I think Honorable Brebner Changala,
every political party,
yeah, not to belabor the point, I think you've put it very, very clearly. This appears to have, to be illegal because it wasn't approved by the late president. Secondly, there was a channel in which it was supposed to be given legitimacy, where, to your knowledge, the president had referred this list to go to Honorable Given Lubinda, who should then table it to the Central Committee for consideration. You can see that there was no imposition of will by the late president. I think you've made it very clear.
No, let me qualify this further. You know, there is a time when Professor Danpule was in India and ECL was in South Africa. There was no chairman or acting chair in Tonse. But it was very clear that the chair should be the acting PF president. That was resisted. It was resisted. And I intervened, I spoke to ECL, that can you make this position very clear and public so that these people who are resisting Lubinda to chair the Tonse can understand that this is a status quo. That was later on clarified, but not without a lot of noise. And that has continued up to today. When Isiro was alive, I think there was peace when he issued that statement of appointing Lubinda as acting chair. Now that he's dead, a lot of people are going to make claims and counterclaims in his name. I must remind them that that is immoral. The man is not with us to validate certain statements and claims that we might make, especially if they were not made public or indeed with anybody to corroborate that those statements or those claims. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let us go to the issue in Parliament. The Speaker of the National Assembly on 26th September presented the national budget, I think of about 253.1 billion kwacha, something like $10.5 billion. And beginning last year, Parliament had set up new rules, new standing orders, and the National Planning and Budgeting Act of 2020 and the Finance Management Act of 2018 was given powers where the national budget is not discussed on the floor of the House. If it is on the floor of the House, the country listens and watches the debate. But somehow, for one reason or another, new rules and regulations were set aside where portfolio and sector committees sit to apportion and discuss the budgets and then just bring to the floor their summaries and conclusions of the approvals that they all have done in these portfolio and sector committees. So following the presentation of the budget beginning Tuesday, Parliament has broken down into portfolio and sector committees. I personally think that this is something the country has to revisit to ensure that the national budget is discussed on the floor, not in the committees where we are not privy to the details. But that's not the issue. The issue is that this process of portfolio and sector committees has been disrupted by a special sitting that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, has called on Thursday. And we heard from members of parliament raising alarm to many stakeholders that they had knowledge and information that the speaker will table, the executive will table on this special sitting on Thursday. Number one, Bill 7, that it will make the constitutional amendments, will make a return, there will be a retabling. And that secondly, there's been an issue. The Superior Courts Act, I think, was amended. There've been positions that have been expanded. In the Constitutional Court, it has been expanded, Supreme Court, and then the High Court. So there's been also a secret recruitment. You've heard yourself, John Sango, and other stakeholders say, can we have a transparent process to recruit judges? So the MPs raised alarm that they have credible information that this special sitting on Thursday will discuss these two items to ratify the newly recruited judges who have been recruited in a secret manner, and Bill 7 will make it another reading in Parliament. But this evening we've seen the Speaker of the National Assembly, the clerk of the National Assembly issue details of the order paper, and those two items are missing. What do you make of this? And what do you think about these issues of Bill 7, the secret recruitment of judges?
Yeah, good evening once again. I want to tell you something that if we are not careful and if we are not alert, we are losing this country. We are losing this country because there is what I call state-sponsored anarchy. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and his colleagues were elected to come and do things differently, but most importantly, transparently. They were elected to come and lead and give direction to this country. They were elected on the backbone of change, hence the new dawn. They were elected on the backbone of the restoration of the rule of law. Now they are the law unto themselves. There is a judgment from the Constitutional Court declaring Bill 7 unconstitutional. And it's very clear. Barely 72 hours, Madam Nelly Muti made a statement on the floor of the House that the executive are at liberty to bring back Bill 7 because the courts do not control Parliament. That is anarchy. Subsequent days, the president made it very clear somewhere that Bill 7 is not dead. It was only deferred. It will get back to Parliament. Now, these are people who celebrate things when they suit them. When ECL's matter for eligibility was taken back to Constitutional Court, revisited and overturned by the court itself in the most unquestionable manner, we were advised to accept the judgment in the Constitutional Court. That is the rule of law. Now, the same Constitutional Court, by some misadventure, made a ruling against Bill 7. They are fighting it without appealing. They are going against the very Constitutional Court they told the Zambians to obey. Let me remind Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. His political party was in opposition for 23 years. And out of that 23 years, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema led the party for close to 15, 16 years. And he lost 5 times. One would have thought, after winning in 2021, he would be the most experienced opposition leader to assume power after having opposed those 4 or 5 presidents. But he has turned out to be that his stay in the opposition and fighting for the state presidents, he had a different agenda. I am here to tell you that when I listen to Mr. Hakainde today, and Mr. Hakainde we walked the streets together with in the opposition, they are 2 distinct individuals, very distinct and well separated by signs and times. The Hakainde in government is a know-it-all. The Hakainde in government does not listen to anybody. He does not share the national vision. He has enveloped all of us into CDF, meal allowance, and debt restructuring. He is the only president with the crisis we face of load shedding who doesn't take time and time again to assure and reassure the people of Zambia that this crisis is temporal. But he has gone on his own business, doing his own things. He does not assure anybody of a better tomorrow. This is a president who sticks on one thing, and when he sticks on it, he must win all the time. You can't be a leader who's always a winner. There are good days and there are bad days. That is called leadership. That is called life. We are in a crisis today. This is the president who promised the people of Zambia that one of his first acts when he's elected is to do away with the Cyber Security Act. Struck it off. But today he has enhanced that without any apologies, without even explaining why he's doing it. Where he has gagged the people of Zambia, they are whispering to each other instead of talking to each other as normal, free, and independent citizens. Everything he's doing is abusing institutions of governance. That is parliament, the judiciary, and the state police, security wings, the Anti-Corruption Commission, the DEC, the Registrar of Society. Everything has collapsed to zero. And before I forget, even the Electoral Commission of Zambia is a security risk as we stand today. So what you are seeing And I'm glad the church has come on board and it can see the treachery and it has woken up. This Bill 7 was coming tomorrow. Make no mistake. And the Catholic Church, for who they are, they will never allow a country slide into lawlessness. Because what we are going through is lawlessness. And the biggest danger is lawlessness sponsored and engineered by the very people we elected in good faith. Thank you.
The secret recruitment of judges, you've been following the issue where we amended
Very well.
and the president consented to the new law on superior courts and the vacancies that have been created. What is your view about the current recruitment of judges, and what do you think should be done? It's like on Bill 7, government appears determined to proceed with this matter.
Yeah, again, like Bill 7, the recruitment of judges has been done secretly. They just want to come and offload it to the people of Zambia when it's too late. We learned a lot from the last 20 judges Mr. Hakainde Hichilema sworn in one day, 20 judges, as if they were minibus conductors. And when we scrutinize them a bit late, we realize majority of them were UPND surrogates. They are on a bench today, and that's why you have seen the judiciary is in total chaos. They are behaving like the UPND came to power through a military coup. You see, before I even comment so much on this secret recruitment, we must first discuss the current challenge that we face. Zambia has a judiciary with an appellant system. When I'm in the magistrate's court, I'm not happy, I lose a case, I appeal to the High Court. When I'm not happy with the ruling in the High Court, I go to the Court of Appeal. If I'm not happy with the Court of Appeal ruling, I go to the final court, the Supreme Court. There, the judgment or the ruling that will be rendered there will be considered final. Today, in the many years that I've lived, people have been convicted at the magistrate's court and immediately they start serving. So that their appeal in the High Court, even if they succeeded, will be academic. There is no bail pending appeal. There is one pastor masquerading who was convicted and is making a lot of noise lately, who is on bail pending appeal. Now, there is no judge or minister of justice who has explained why this bail pending appeal has been done away with. Today is very difficult, and going to court, I keep on telling people, in today's Zambia under the UPND, is a huge risk. It's a huge risk because there are innocent people who are now in jail today. And I must say it here and now. When time comes, you are going to realize that we have political prisoners inside our prisons who have been politically convicted. Today, this day and age, we have people on the run, in exile. Mr. Mwamba, you could be one of them, littered all over. We have women who are running in the diaspora trying to fight for our struggle in Zambia because women can't mount that struggle. That's how bad things are. The Patriotic Front cases, which have since 2020, none of them has ever gone to trial. None of them. Whenever the matter appears in court, they are always adjourned sine die. No returnable date. It's not by coincidence. It's through the destruction of the judiciary. Now, these people are running a secret society, and yet they are elected politicians to oversee our governance. They are now hiding the list of judges that are coming to the bench, because they know, and I know they know, that there's something wrong with the candidates. Because these are judges who are going to be on the bench. They will preside on matters that concerns the opposition, the ruling party, ordinary citizens, the blind, the youth, the women, and everybody. They must be impartial. How they were selected, nobody knows. Why they are withholding their names, nobody knows. One MP tells me they will soon come to parliament. That's when we shall know who they are. But at that stage, it's a bit late, because we need the input of the public, because nobody was born an island. So some of the judges, they are going to the bench because they have failed to function in their political parties, and they have failed to function as lawyers at the bar. So they are going to do the bidding in the judiciary, and everybody will be an endangered species. You go to court today, I repeat, it's a huge risk, especially if you are in the opposition, especially if you are in civil society, especially if you are talkative.
You are right,
as I am.
Brebner, especially on the bail pending appeal. It makes our appellate process, a mockery. Nixon Chilangwa and Chitotela, Ronald Chitotela, have contested that conviction. They've said, for example, they were not available, and there is strong evidence in their case. That case for me even saddens me, because Nixon Chilangwa had even complained to the JCC and submitted evidence and documents and audios, recorded audios, that the magistrate had misconducted himself, and the magistrate had refused to recuse himself. He proceeded to jail them. They have not been given bail pending appeal. Kalumbe Chifumbe, the mayor. And sadly is that they are proceeding to lose even their seats. Munia Zulu, Bowman Lusambo. Even women like Wanzia Chirwa Kampiongo denied bail flatly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how strong your appeal is. This set of judges have just refused. It's like you have to save at all cost. The case of GBM, if it was not for the pardon, GBM also failed to get bail. We have the recent cases of Chimba Kambwiri, Joe Malanji, and Mr. Fred Sonyamba. All of them, in totality, denied bail. We had the unique case of my dear sister Maureen Mabonga, who's been given bail, but she proceeded to lose the seat, and she didn't have time to, mount a proper challenge because she was in prison. So you have over 7 MPs that have lost their seats. Bail pending appeal has been refused, sometimes up to the superior courts like appeals court. It's really a matter of worry, the state of our judiciary. I don't know what your views are before we go to another topic. Let me say something.
Yes, let me say something, Honorable Ambassador. What pains me as a colleague of the UPND in the opposition is that whenever they were arrested, Mr. Hakainde's battle cry, and I keep on repeating this, his battle cry was he was being arrested not because he broke the law. He was being arrested because of where he came from. The records are there. He was being arrested because of where he came from. And he kept on repeating that he didn't choose to be born where he was born. Now, They have come here as elected administrators of the Republic of Zambia. They have mounted a campaign to lock up everyone and inflict maximum pain so that these people they have jailed, they must remember. Now, that's not the way a justice system operates. That's not the way it operates. The way they felt when they were being harassed by the PF, this is the way everybody is feeling. Hence the motto that has come. I saw it with Chief Mubanda. Zambia needs second reparations from the one of the Kaundas and the Mwangas of this world. We need our reparation today to free ourselves from this injustice. You cannot have three arms of government being controlled by the executive only. Parliament is in a chaotic state under Madam Nelly Muti. The judiciary, headed by Dr. Justice Mwamba Marira, a man whose name was held in veneration, highly respected, a human rights defender, a teacher, a lecturer, a respected scholar, a lawyer. The performance coming out of the judiciary must be explained as to what has gone wrong. This is the man at ratification where both the ruling and the opposition cast the vote for him because they saw justice in him. Just looking at Mwamba Marira, one would see justice and a human face. Is a man everybody considered to have a soul. I don't think that description will fit him today. And I would want one day for him to make a statement. There is a period a year or two ago when I wrote a letter to him. I asked him to step aside because he had just a good name, which I told him would be soiled by this administration. Resign and state the reasons. You will save the country. Thank you.
We have the matters that you referred to. A lot of people don't seem to have understood the enormity of the cases when surrogates from State House, were imposed on the Patriotic Front. The political party, the largest opposition party in the country, was literally stolen from it. And many people now have said the PF president is actually President Hakainde Hichilema because, he has Robert Chabinga, who's his stooge. Yeah, we are 10 months away from elections. And the issue of PF, like you are saying, the judiciary have been the biggest letdown. The matters have not been heard. They've either been thrown out on minor technicalities, but there has been no proper hearing. With the latest case now, where a judge has refused to sign a consent agreement, because a consent agreement must be easier because the warring parties have agreed, and to date, that consent agreement hasn't been signed. Then maybe after you answer that, we move to the state of the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Yeah, it's very sad because you see, what is in the judiciary, they don't even hide. The issue of the Patriotic Front, I want the nation to know why I keep on saying it's a criminal act which was state-sponsored. You must understand that for you to form a political party, you must deposit a constitution with the registrar of society. That is a guiding line on how your political party will function. Now, when Mao Sampa did a sham convention, there is a lady at the Register of Society who resisted to change the office bearers because she had the PF constitution and Mao Sampa didn't meet all the benchmarks of the PF constitution. What happened? The Minister of Home Affairs fired her because the Registrar of Society is under the Minister of Home Affairs. Now, the Minister of Home Affairs fired that lady, engaged the new registrar, and everything was done. Now, that's a criminal matter, changing government record. When you deposit the constitution with the registrar, that document becomes a government record. And the Minister of Home Affairs is a member of the executive. To this very day, they will pretend that they are not aware. And what is even worse, 2 days later after that was done, Nelly Muti in Parliament recognized Mao Sampa. And thereafter, hell broke loose. The PF went to court where the courts could not entertain them. We engaged the courts. We wrote to the Chief Justice. Can you expedite these matters? Because there was only one simple question. Was the Mao Sampa Convention legal as per PF Constitution? Just that. No High Court judge has gone as far as that. Then secondly, Mao Sampa reconciles with the real owners of the Patriotic Front, and they walk to the steps of the courts and sign a consent order. The judge decides to say, I shall communicate. The matter was stood sine die. No returnable debt. All she was supposed to do is listen to both parties and say, okay, yeah, you make my job easier. You have agreed. Just my signature, pa. Now, they have to consult somebody somewhere, and that's where the challenge is. This country is being destroyed in our eyes. We are even seeing it. That something is not adding up. And people have been pushed in a corner of fear because of the cyber laws. And that's why they brought the cyber laws, because they didn't want people to challenge the criminality. They didn't want. You challenge criminality, seditious. You challenge bad governance, hate speech. And this hate speech is only against one collection of individuals. It is not hate speech for every Jim and Jack. No. It's a special tool to lock up those that they don't want, either in politics, civil society, or as they are called, noisemakers. Now, you can't run a country where 80% of the people are ever complaining. You have to visit people, visit the market, listen to the radio. People are complaining, and I have asked the president, and I repeat it tonight, Mr. President, can you call the national endeavor? This is a country for all Zambians and those who live in it. Let's have a discussion. Let's understand each other. Why all of a sudden, after 60 years of independence, we should have hate speech? 60 years of independence, we must have sedition, which is a colonial law, by the way. Why should we have these challenges? And only in the UPND administration. It was not there in UNIP, it was not there in MMD, it was not there in PF. But only ND sees and hears hate speech and sedition. This is is an eye-opener. There is an agenda for silencing the people. Then we need to have an open discussion on the emerging, flourishing tribalism. Again, you can't deny that we are divided. And they don't want people to have an honest discussion on this scourge. Because the tribe must die for us to prosper. Kaunda did his part. Kaunda fought tribalism to a point where he crisscrossed us to go and learn elsewhere. He encouraged the people of Zambia to intermarry. We have done our cross-pollination, as I keep on saying. Mwamba's wife today might be Rosie. We have names like Mulenganyambe, Bwaria Habazua. You know, that is Kaunda. So why should today start playing this game of tribalism? I know the underlying factor, which they say, they don't say it on camera, but they say it privately, that we were disadvantaged. There is only one tribe that has enjoyed the fruits of this country. They are forgetting that Kaunda balanced this tribal thing. Some of them, they don't even remember Samuel Mbirishi, Humphrey Mulemba, Munuka Yumbwasparo, Elijah Mudenda. You can name them. Narumino Mundia, Siomunji. No, I can go on and on. The vice presidency here in this country, there was Mainza Chona. There was Daniel Lisulo. There was Marimba Masheke. The unity of this country. Mungoni Liso, Daniel Munkombwe, Vernon Johnson Mwanga. You can go on and on. Joshua Lumina. Surely today you can whisper to a friend that you were disadvantaged. Yes, probably disadvantaged because there was one president, Kaunda, Chiluba, Mwanawasa, Rupia Bwezanbanda, Michael Sata, and ECL. And when we gave you, Mr. Akainde, the chance to govern, you should not have looked at it. You should have taken it as an honor to govern without looking at where we come from. But today you will see a swearing ceremony with one tribe featuring prominently. And the president feels nothing is wrong because he's just trying to cure an injustice, inverted comma, an injustice. We need to discuss this. We need a national endeavor. This country is bleeding. When you go into offices, people have been displaced. People have been shunted to cabinet office. And yet they used to fight UNIP, rather PF, for firing people in national interest. Them, they are discarding people because of, as HH will say, because of where I come from. No, we can do better. We can do better. Before we go to the general election, make peace with ourselves. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Brebner. For our dear viewers, I'll be calling you to now make your phone calls and make contributions. We are discussing the state of the nation. Brebner Changala, using his insights and his friendship with the late President Edgar Chagwa and his quest, especially Brebner's personal quest to bring unity to the opposition. He worked with the late president. You saw how they helped form United Kwacha Alliance and also Tonse, but Brebner's view has always been broader beyond those alliances. He wants the opposition to be united. It took time to demonstrate that the list that was released was bogus. It didn't enjoy final authority from ECL and from the structures of the Patriotic Front. And he has called for the leadership in PF to, I think, look at the bigger goal of attempting, to harness the rest of the opposition and reclaim power from President Hakainde Hichilema. If we are preoccupied and locked in petty squabbles, we will be going nowhere. I think that's the message of Brebner. He has talked about Parliament, state of Parliament, issues of Bill 7. He's talked about the issues of the judiciary. We are now about to speak to the issue of ECZ. As I invite you to participate, call, share the broadcast, share where you are, and let's see you participate. Honorable Brebner Changala, before I begin to receive the phone calls, the last call to you is the state of ECZ. We have Mwangala Zalumis, a renowned lawyer, and McDonald Chipenzi, civil society activists, but they are associated deeply with the UPND. And then we have the technocrats that are running ECZ. Brown Kasaro, at inception, at his recruitment, when they were appointing him, there were various voices, including mine, including that of Dr. Fred Membe and other stakeholders that objected that Brown Kasaro was not fit for purpose because of the misconduct he's alleged to have been involved in. There were even police matters against him during the 2016 elections. There's another gentleman who they've brought in as director, Dr. Collins Chinyamakachaka. He was director of Center for Information, Communications and Technology at the University of Zambia. The two with Brian Kasaro were accused of the similar issues in the 2016 elections. So here you are. You have UPND at the top running ECZ, and you have technocrats that were accused of tampering, with ECZ to favor the UPND. Can we go to elections with the state of this ECZ?
Thank you very much. I must say this openly. ECZ is one issue I have with the President Hakainde Hichilema. Myself, I have told him, and we quarreled over this ECZ. I told him, historically, ECZ is run by a judge, either a retired judge or a serving judge on secondment. For one simple reason, a judge might have a political opinion, but it's not openly expressed. And that's why we believe even in their judgments. Now, Mwangala Zalomis, who was once my lawyer, is a UPND member. People can go and interview her. McDonald Chipenzi, he has refused that he's not a member of the UPND. We give him a benefit of doubt. But I want to say this. In government, whatever you do, you must first be confidence. ECZ is a government institution on a government treasury support. ECZ is supposed to be credible in appearance and in their conduct and by association. Because with the way President Hakainde Hichilema has conducted himself the last 4 years, ECZ will have a challenge to announce that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has lost an election. And the conduct of the president himself, it does not look like an individual who can concede defeat. There will be a lot of persuasion. Now, Madam Zalomis, Chipenzi, and Kasaro, I know jobs are few, but the best they can do with all the stakeholders resisting their tenure at ECZ, only one stakeholder has accepted them, and that is the UPND, because those are their emissaries at that institution. But their personal conscience must tell them that they are in the wrong place. But they are in the wrong place. They might be qualified, but they do not inspire confidence. And the general elections are highly contentious. They must learn the man who appointed Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. There is no general election that he lost, that he graciously accepted and congratulated the winner. Not even one election. He never congratulated Mwanawasa when he defeated him. He never congratulated Rupia Bwezanbanda when he defeated him. He never congratulated Michael Chirufasata when he defeated him. He never congratulated Edgar Chagwalungu and conceded defeat. He always cried foul. The only election Mr. Hakainde Hichilema accepted was the 2021. The reason was simple. He won it, and the losers needed to accept. That's the only election. And immediately he won it, he didn't spare ECZ. He went on rampage to get rid of the commissioners there, including the chairman. And he made a very poor appointment. He went to his archives in the party and collected one unfortunate lady, Mwangala Zaromis, and subject her to this discourse. We are not supposed to have this discourse about the chairperson. The important thing, Madam Zaromis, you have been a lawyer for many, many years. You are respected. Let it go. Please walk away. Let's have a chairman or a chair lady at ECZ who is a retired judge or indeed a serving judge who has nothing to do with the UPND or indeed any other political party. Somebody who is neutral and must be seen to be fair. We have a speaker. We are talking about the ECZ. We have a speaker who has taken side in parliament. She is always even answering questions on behalf of the executive. That's how bad these UPND surrogates are. Because Neni Muti is a UPND. It's a well-known fact. She can't deny that. And her conduct in parliament, she can't hide it. I don't see Mwangala Zaromis at a crucial time of announcing elections. The true character will come because they need to defend each other using the election. That will not be tolerated. You see how Africa operates. Elections brings peace or it brings war. Elections in Africa has got only two outcomes. It's a source of conflict or it's a source of peaceful coexistence. It has worked in Malawi, it worked in Botswana, it has worked in Ghana, and indeed, we pray it must work here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, I would like to invite you to now, the phone lines are open. If you have any question for Honorable Brebner Changala, please call on the lines below and let's participate.
Okay, so good afternoon, fellow countrymen. We are members of parliament under Patriotic Front, and we are gathered here to just raise a concern that happened yesterday. Yesterday, everyone, I'm sure, is aware that there was a meeting that was supposed to have taken place. Whether legal or illegal, we feel that as members of parliament, one concerning item that happened, the violence and the thuggery that took place yesterday, we would like, as members of parliament from PF, to condemn in the strongest terms that as we go through the path of rebranding, we do not want to see that kind of behavior. And we hope that if indeed those that are involved are Patriotic Front members, we hope that the Secretary General will take remedial measures to ensure that discipline is maintained. Discipline is maintained in our party as we are preparing to go and have an elective conference. I'm sure that everyone is aware that we, as the Patriotic Front, are preparing to go for an elective conference, and therefore, we, in this transitional period, we hope that there will be discipline that will be maintained, and unity. The Zambian people are depending on us as an alternative.
Let's take our first caller. I've got Honorable Brebner Changala here, who is a civil society leader, and we are discussing various issues. He touched on the purpose and importance of PF to be united and therefore drive that narrative in Tonse Alliance, and then the issues at Parliament, Constitution, Bill 7, and other matters. Make your contribution. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is from Livingstone.
Yes,
good afternoon, Honorable Changala. Thank you so much for writing so many issues, Mr. Changala. I want to comment specifically on what transpired yesterday concerning the issues of leadership, especially in the Patriotic Front. It is true what Honorable Changala has stipulated. He has just called things as they are. There are two factions. There's one for Mr. Munduvire. There's another one for Honorable Given Luvinda. Now, Honorable Given Luvinda and the rest of the Central Committee, where their term, first of all, is too valid. Their term is too valid, and there is no vacancy in their positions. Secondly, we have lost the sixth president of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwarungu, who actually left that leadership in place, and up to now we have not yet buried the president. But even before we have buried him, we have seen that there is a faction of the PF that is fighting the appointments that were left by Dr. Edgar Chagwarungu. Now, when you look at the people that are causing these confusions, you are going to agree with me that it's mostly the members of parliament and mostly the provincial, some of the provincial officials around the country for the Patriotic Front. Now, these people that have stipulated, when you look at the appointing authority by then, they were appointed by Mr. Davis Muila. Those adoptions for 2021, and then also the elections, the inter-party elections for 2021. These all had their loyalty through Mr. Muila. Now, those appointments were made by corruption. Mr. Muila brought in the politics of buying adoption certificates.
Come on, Bayama. Let's be focused on the issues. I think let's not raise attacks to people that.
I wanted to explain. Okay, let me put it this way. The problem that we have right now is insubordination, and we understand where all these problems are coming from. So these things have been happening for some time. They were just happening in the background.
Okay, okay, Mr. Mua, thank you very much. Let me take you can see the people in the background are calling. Let's take the other calls quickly. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Wamungonge.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening, Abafiashi. Mwamba wesu inofoni ngalanda fye. Na rifiro kuchita understand pa murandu wa batembo bambuya besu. Because ngana tonna kutumana sana pa murandu wa chipani ngatwalanda pali imwe. Oko mwafuma kutali sana na pamasa imi na background na mkwate ikulu sana. Ya kukura na bantu abengi. Twise tuli ya kuri wa given ubinda. Opo bambire, bali na basata, mubapitire kwa liukurusa ma elections. Mufintu ifingi sana. Na background na tuimwana na muni mufionso mufo bapitamu. Ambanga na sabula batembo. Ine na firo okuba mwana opo bambire, nopo babererero. Nomba ewe ngesa bafu. Okay. Tesi tukanya obutunguru shibulesa parapene. Nomba batembo. Bashoni tembo. Balilinga festi bakutumana sana. Pako bati bamone mishira sha PF. Nefitu waro kufyafuma. Pako bati bachitatapu. Muli patriotic ya PF ofo ilingire ilenda. Umoni abafyasha abo abafyasha baba muri na beno ko ba
Brebner Changala.
Ngamwasalolesha tapali winga beba tiseni mwafu PF bati ngatwalolesha opo bayiminina noko bafuma nefe bale kuchalo fire sutinga nokusutinga tabe bafire baunda pa ichichipani PF abengita bayishiba PF yi yamwina Zambia oli wonse ababa lipolero ababa letu afoko bati PF ba ibe aze ile amuli tonse alliance it was the future pako bati charo chatekwa wino nomba bengi bafitora fe kwati ma politics so mubabike ko panshi ba tembo ichironganiro chaba sensitive the future abe na Zambia bebika mu kwangala ngo komedira ngo drama mufure mwaye katana nomba batembo baisa kuli imwe nangu ni bana kachinda rekina bapera kwenza mbana kachinda na bakwata ko experience bali pitire ko emwe mudikuli yani leadership na mufintu fyashara barolesho ko bati PF chironganino chako bati chichatora Zambia pantanshi nshako nkefe ko bati ona kachinda ndio kuna ngundio basambirira mufimwira politics bakweta kale nayo bakweta inoishita fyapusana bale imini na kwa bena Zambia.
Thank you, Amma. Thank you. Let's take some other calls. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, good evening, Ambassador, and good evening, Uncle B. I usually call him Uncle B. My name is Mrs. Anonymous from the AI Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Uncle B, for explaining issues the way he has articulated them very well, simple, clear, and it for a person like me listening, I am like, okay, Zambia is well blessed. We are blessed to have people like him because they're able to look at issues in a very objective way, regardless of who and so forth, and call issues the way they're supposed to be called. For me, Ambassador, I want to comment on Bill 7 because that's my major concern, even from way back. Right now, when I looked at the I think some documents circulating where it's not on the, is it an order of paper or paper of order, I don't know what it's called, for tomorrow's program. I can say maybe program for tomorrow for the House by Vanelli Moti. I just didn't see it there. So my question was, where we are saying that no, it has been withdrawn. I've seen a number of people maybe celebrating to say no, it has been withdrawn. For me, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's just not on the program for tomorrow. It may come the other day or the other day, because we've seen that the UPND government, in terms of I think trusting to trust them on a number of issues, we are trusting them at our own risk. Let's go back to the cyber law of how it was dealt with. They withdrew it. The next thing, it just came secretly, passed, next signed secretly, next we just had it by the US ambassador. So even this one, we really need to be careful to say it has to fall. It should not come back to Parliament. That is our
we should remain vigilant.
Yes, and I'm going to mention this, Ambassador. I think for now we need to tell Vanelli Muti to say she is abrogating. She's defiling the Constitution. Her being the lawyer, she should know very well what the law states when it comes to matters that went to court and they have been deliberated on. There's even a judgment, and she is now going ahead to say we are going to table this, and that the Zambian people are going to hold her accountable. Personally, me, myself, I'll hold her accountable, and I'll make sure that she's taken to court when she's out of power. Whenever, even if it takes 20 years, I'll make sure this is on so that she can go to jail for violating our constitution. We have the right as Zambians to say no. We've said no, but she still keeps bringing it back to the house. So
Thank
my
you.
point,
Thank you, my dear
I'll
sister.
take her to court and
Thank
she
you.
has to
Thank
go
you.
to jail.
Thank you. There are so many calls, Brebner Changala. Just excuse me. Callers, just be brief so that we can take as many as possible. Then we allow Mr. Changala to answer. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, proceed to make your contribution.
Yes, I want to ask one thing to Mr. Changala. During those days, you had a very strong organization called Oasis, where you and Bishop we helped in certain things. Quite because of people who could have been in front of us to help. What's happened to your group? Thank you.
Oasis Forum. Okay. Someone is asking about Oasis Forum. Honorable Brebner Changala, what is happening? Can we revive a similar group? Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Oasis Forum. Okay. Someone is asking about Oasis
Please
Forum.
tell us where you are calling us from.
Changala, what is happening? Can we revive a similar group? Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I think it's Father Oscar Mwanza Pombo. Please proceed to make your contribution, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mwamba. Brebner Changala, thank you so much for what you have exposed, what has been your comment on what transpired on the Tonse Alliance, and I think what you have talked about the succession from Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu to those who might be the next maybe in kin. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to talk about, first of all, Emmanuel Mwamba on we don't know whether the DO7 is coming back in Parliament because our government, the government of President Akende Chilema, instead of telling us what exactly is happening in the country, I think that the so-called Mingalato is what is at stake all the time. So I don't know if this Bill 7 tomorrow is coming in Parliament. We don't know. Now, if at all this Bill 7 could come in Parliament, I side with Changala, I side with what the Catholic bishops have come out. And what the Catholic bishops have said is nothing new, but they have just recalled and remembered the government and the Zambian people, what these spiritual leaders, they guided all of us. And one of the points they mentioned and they emphasized was there was not enough time. And the process was totally wrong to amend Bill 7. So we hope it does not come tomorrow. But if at all it came tomorrow, Vachangala, I would like to ask you, is it wrong for me, who is a Catholic priest, to call to responsibility by Council Nelly Moti as the one who is going to be held responsible, not only by Council Nelly Moti, but also by Minister of Justice? If this bill is going to come back, is it wrong for me? Am I in order to say categorically that I will hold responsible by Madam Nelly Moti, by Minister of Justice and President Hakainde Hichilema responsible for the consequences, whatever consequences can come out, if at all Bill 7 is going to be imposed on the Zambian people. Thank you very much for Emmanuel Mwamba, and I submit.
Thank you. Catholic priest from Italy, Father Donosco Mwanza Pombo. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, my name is Lawrence Mwendwa. I'm calling from Saka, Zambia.
Yes, sir.
I'm your keen follower, and I appreciate what you are doing. Good evening, Mr. Changala. I would like to comment on two issues. The first one is the Tonse Alliance. The Tonse Alliance is such a brilliant idea, and every Zambian is looking up to it. Yes, we know that we are still mourning our late president, but I think that leadership at Tonse, as well as the Patriotic Front, must be more proactive. If I recall very well, Hitler once said he would rather lose war than lose a second. Time is not with us. What cost the PF a few years back on Independence Day was inaction, was the speed at which things were being done by those who were either proposing for the return of President Lungu or those who wanted to go to the convention. Because of the procrastination, because of failure to make decisions, PF was taken over by Mayo Sampa and later by Chavinga. Under the leadership, if I recall very well, of were given Ruinda. Now there is inaction on the PF side, there is inaction on the Tonse side, and people are in suspense. They want to see something happen. So when we see Benashon Tembo and others gathering these meetings, I don't think it's out of disrespect, but I think it's because they think that those who are supposed to make the decisions are seated quietly. What is going on? Zambians are panicking. Time is not with us. And those who are in leadership are quiet. Is this how we are going to handle these issues? I strongly condemn the attack, but I think that those who organized this meeting, whether illegal or legal, what everybody needed to do was to take that meeting and turn it into an opportunity for them to iron out what they felt was not right. And even correct Zuman and Sean Tembo to say this is not how you are supposed to do things. But in any case, we are gathered here, let's deal with these issues and define how meetings are supposed to be called. Otherwise, Brother Mwamba Changala, we don't have time. We are 6 months away from the nominations next year, and people are still in a state of confusion. When are we going to have a leader for Tonse? I rest my case.
Thank you very much. I will take the last 3 calls and we revert to Honorable Brebner Changala.
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers this morning, wherever you're catching us from, members of the press. I'm grateful for giving me an opportunity to speak to the Zambian people in this very short address. First, I want to, on behalf of the party, our Patriotic Front, and Tonse Alliance, register regret at happenings yesterday in relation to our members and cadres that disrupted a meeting that was held at Mr. Tembo's residence. whether irregular record or indeed perceived wrongs being occasioned, it is regrettable that we can be having incidences that the Zambian people have expressed in time.
Caller, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name.
Yes, I can hear you now. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
John Mawo, kuno ku Italy ambassador.
Thank you very much. Long time, but John, please make your contributions.
Thank you. I hope mulifyo wino kaidi na Zambia ngande tamba program yenu. Mulalisha karaka ila songa tikadonki yarendesha bulanda sana sonata bandi kuzambia kutuwa fyanya then Moro campus yabantu bali rulinga yali bakofia that ndefafe kupushako bafyashi honorable Changala because he's a wise man and I know although to obsess over the president personally I think that this is God's way of punishing those he chose to lead our nation. For example, our PF. So I think our president because when he had an alternative. So question for Honorable Changala, what's the way forward for our nation? Because as it is, it's like we've become a joke of a nation. Hello, circus. I waited 3 months, Ambassador Tukashika. We don't have a living former head of state with all the wisdom and knowledge and experience and everything that we can benefit from as a country. And look at the circus when we lost the only president we had as a living former head of state. Ndemana kwati although fine kula chitama chiefs limbi kwati toy soldiers na shashala. Those chiefs were got the wisdom how to lead people ngefine fe kwata bafyashi honorable Changala. No mandifu websha from his side. What's the way forward for our nation? Because the nation is going through a phase which is very painful, and it should happen. It should be like this, so that those people God has chosen to be leaders of men, but still learn our lessons to respect the people they lead. It's not about them. It's about calling from God. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mabo from Italy. I'll take my last caller and then we revert to other caller. Your last caller, make your contributions quickly.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba, and good evening, Changala. Zephania Piri is my name. I'm calling from Lusaka.
Thank you, Zephania. Your last caller, make your contributions.
Yes, my contribution is that I want to urge our leaders, and we have spoken here on Verified, that Zambia and the Zambians have said they want united front, and they want one candidate, and they want the people of Zambia to have a leader so that they can start preparing. Now, what is disheartening is that what we saw yesterday is not good, because it's denting the name of PF, where everyone is the party which we have seen that the UPND, they don't want to see it on the ballot. Then now again, the same patriotic front leadership and the youths, they are trying to put more damage on it. So I have seen a lot of our leaders today, a lot of interviews addressing the media. That is not helping this nation. What is going to help the nation is all of them, the leadership, especially the leadership of Patriotic Front. Let them come together. Let them convene the MCC emergency MCC to resolve this issue and set a date of convention, not what they had the other week. They should now revert it and a quick one so that they choose a leader for the PF so that now the leader whom they are going to choose for convention so that he can start now giving direction. It looks like we've got leadership crisis because, and I can see our leaders, they are busy trying to address the media and so forth instead of coming together. And once they come together, it will now strengthening the Tonse alliance. And that's why other people, they are now taking advantage because they want to control and they are using the name of former President Edgar Chagwa, may he so rest in peace. Please, Zambians, listen to what we are saying. Don't use the name of our father who saved this country. And President Edgar Chagwa, he wanted the Tonse to strive and to form government next year. Let them honor, if they really love Edgar Chagwa, his body is still lying. He is not yet buried. He's still in the mortuary. Please respect. Let's stop this, what is happening. I am calling all the leaders, the leadership, whether in Tonse and PF, have an emergency meeting no sooner. These media briefing, they are not helping. We have seen these media briefing every day, time and again. They are not yielding any results.
Thank you, Zephaniah. Thank you.
Zambians are worried. Zambians are saying, where are we going? If we cannot kill the buffalo which is there then and start sharing, and we are busy trying to fight a wounded buffalo, we are now making it to become more wounded. And this is what is happening. I want just to thank you, Changala, what you have said, and the leaders should listen. And I want to thank you, Comrade Mwamba, for what you are doing. You always give us this space to speak, but it seems our leaders, they are not listening. We are Zambians, we are listening and we are watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Brebner Changala. Honorable Brebner Changala, you have clearly heard submissions from our people. Just begin to answer to that, then we will close. I think we'll give remarks, but speak to the views of the various scholars.
Yeah, the submissions are too many, not drowned. There are very few I must answer. But I want to, after listening to everybody, Zambians want national unity. Zambians are resolved that the UPND must vacate and live peacefully. I make a call now that going forward tomorrow, no pride, can Honorable Munduvile, this is how we are going to resolve these problems. Can Honorable Munduvile find time and space and go to PF Secretariat and sit down with the acting president, Given Rwinda? It is not a mark of humiliation, it is a mark of leadership. Until you go for a convention, please, please submit yourself to the current leadership in the Patriotic Front. It will not do to divide the party and you go and subordinate yourself to Tonse. Tonse is a collection of political parties and other interested leaders. First, unite your house. And your house is the Patriotic Front. Once you show unity of purpose, the rest problems that you are facing at Tonse will go away. The gentlemen who are at Tonse, who are trying to ride on splitting the PF, will find it very hard to misbehave. So, Honorable Munduvire, there is a reason I'm calling you. It might be out of perception and people's understanding, but the truth of the matter, go and do what is correct. I know you're not in good books with Mr. Lubinda and Nakachinda, but the late president, ECL, had a message for you. Subordinate yourself to Lubinda. Work with Lubinda until you go to the convention. Go as one unity. This message, I think, has been delivered to you through somebody, one or the other. It's not too late. Tonse is a collection of political parties in diversity. It will not do to have Tonse if you destroy the Patriotic Front. It will not do. This is very simple. You don't need a rocket scientist. Build and hold firm the Patriotic Front. And from Patriotic Front, move as a unity into Tonse. There is no other political party that is under attack today, because everybody wants to eat into the Patriotic Front. Patriotic Front is the ideal vehicle, but it can't work in isolation. ECL himself, he died believing in this Patriotic Front. Now, you have, when you are so many, others will not be that patient. Don't find comfort away from your home. Find comfort amongst your colleagues at PF Secretariat. And from there, mobilize and hold a convention that will elect a new leader. The happening at Tonse or at Mr. Sean Tembo's house was most unfortunate, but it's an issue that could have easily been avoided if only you had consulted your political party. PF was a secretariat. Surely, how do you go and start doing politics in other people's sitting rooms? It doesn't hold. The other thing to the people of Zambia is unity. This country is going through serious challenges, socially, economically, but most importantly, the challenge of national unity. We are divided. Nobody must cheat you. The very fact that people are not talking is not a consolation. Is a signal that this is not a Zambia we want. We need a country that will speak one language.
Honorable Brebner Changala, I'm making a special case for you. I'm making a special case. Honorable Given Katuta says, please, just allow me to ask a question to Honorable Brebner Changala. So it's an exception. Chairman's rule. I've ruled that she can answer. Madam, quickly, you as an area member of parliament, you are a special stakeholder. So we allowed you.
Thank you. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I'm listening to the wisdom of our elder brother there. We need wisdom actually from our elders. And I praise that one day in Zambia, we'll have just a council of elders just to give, to direct the nation. However, I just have a short question. I've listened to him talking about PF holding a convention. I'm a bit confused because as far as the nation is concerned, PF is in the hands of Mr. Honorable Chavinga, and we don't see this happening like tomorrow or today. So how is PF going to convene that convention? I just want him to clarify on that. As it is now, it's a matter of life and death. Zambians need strong opposition. So they're looking for opposition, and they want to know if PF is still living or PF is dead. Because when he's talking about convention, I'm wondering which political party that PF is going to use, because there's a president at the moment who is claiming to be a president. So how are they supposed to hold the convention? Thank you so much.
I had to make special attention. You know, this is Honorable given Katu Tamwelwa. She's Member of Parliament for Chiengi. And she says, which PF are you talking about? Of course, you and I understand that there's an illegal PF led by Robert Chavingha, but that has been clothed with legitimacy by State House, the surrogates of State House. But that was our urgent question as you continue to wind up.
Yeah, my greetings to that Iron Lady, and my regards to your husband, a very fantastic human being. The Patriotic Front is Patriotic Front, regardless of who is holding to the documents. Mind you, Chavingha is holding to PF documents handed to him by the executive, handed to him by the Ministry of Home Affairs, handed to him through an act of criminality, and that must be fought. Nobody must give up and just say because the documents are with Chavingha and the owners of the party, the following, the membership has no anything legal. They have their NRCs. That is illegal enough. There is a moment when you mobilize, you have a leader, you will get your party back. Even if it takes 20 years. Never fold your hands. Now, PF will have a convention, and if they don't get their party by the time we go to the general election, they will use a special purpose vehicle. But they must be in a united front, in a united way, not in a scattered manner. They must hold each other together as they fight the state machinery. The current happenings in this country, criminality surprisingly is state-sponsored. We used to talk about criminality in the PF, which was done by cadres who had no constitutional bearing on their shoulders. It was just abuse of affiliation to those who are in power. Now, today we have cadres who are holding on to constitutional offices and using them to attack and assault the very people that they are supposed to govern. Chavingha's leadership that has been bestowed on him by President Hakainde Hichilema is fake, and it must be taken as such. I know the state will want to glorify him, and she has asked a very good question, which Chavingha keeps on saying. You go and assemble and elect a leadership. I'm instructing the police to come and arrest whoever will be at that convention. That is Chavingha holding on to documents which were criminally obtained. And the police can't challenge him. The Minister of Home Affairs or the Minister, the Permanent Secretary, they are enjoying the chaos because it works for them. But I want to warn the UPND, you will not be in power forever. What you are doing today and the traps you are laying today, using those offices, will come to haunt you tomorrow. I want to tell UPND, because they have got a story, that the offices you are occupying, they were once by the NIP. The offices you are occupying today were once held by MMD. The office you are holding today were once held by the PF. President Hakainde Hichilema is number 7th president. This is cardinal. So you cannot win an election and involve yourself in criminal activities. Time is ticking. And when that time comes, please don't cry because of where you are born. When that time comes, please don't cry that you are being arrested because of who you are, not because you broke the law. Today, you have unleashed the police to arrest every Jim and Jack that doesn't agree with you. You have energized the courts to fast-track cases that involves the opposition and those in the civil society. But you cannot fast-track a matter that involves constitutional democracy. The case of the Patriotic Front, which you have stolen using state machinery and using the offices you are privileged to occupy today. So, Madam Katuta, do not be afraid or fear that which PF, there is only one Patriotic Front, which is being attacked by the people who are supposed to protect it. This case, even if it takes 15, 20 years, there will be a commission of inquiry on how PF was stolen. By that time, PF might not even be there. But a commission of inquiry will be instituted. This I can tell them. Because you don't steal government records. You don't change government records to suit a political agenda. You even go to the Constitutional Court and in a rocket speed revisit a matter that was adjudicated upon. Revisit it and reverse it. You are running a country, not a casino. I thank you and good night.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, today we were privileged to host Brebner Changala, civil society activist, and he's been with us the last 2 hours. For you colleagues that are calling, I think we have to allow Honorable Brebner Changala to go and rest. Thank you. So what you can do is just make your contribution on the threads and make those contributions to all the pages that gave us access. Thank you very much for honoring this and for giving us access to your pages and for us to broadcast this national message. Let's collaborate more. To Honorable Brebner Changala, I'm always grateful, eternally grateful that you always make yourself available, to come and speak to the nation through us. The matters we're concerned of Bill 10 and the secret appointment of judges that was supposed to come for ratification. Like one caller said, don't go to sleep. Just because it's not on the order paper tomorrow, do not go to sleep, because it can be on the order paper after tomorrow. We have seen the order paper. There's no substance. There's no need for a special session. We understand there were issues that were there. With the strong emergence letter from the Catholic Church, I think it provided a sense of fear by these that had manipulated the process and attempted to bring Bill 7 to Parliament. We thank God for that intervention, and we thank God for you, Brebner Changala. We thank God for the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops and others that immediately awoke and spoke against this matter. We'll continue with budget review. We have Dr. Grieve Chelwa, the professor from United Arab Emirates, makes a return. He will look at the budget that was presented by Dr. Msokotwane. And we have a series of other leaders that are scheduled to appear, including my dear brother, Brian Munduvile. He should come and answer the concerns that, for example, Brebner Changala brought to the fore. So God bless you. And until tomorrow, let me leave you with some videos. The president is in the United Kingdom. There's been debate. He doesn't seem to have gone for an official function, because the way he arrived in London, the way he arrived in Glasgow, Scotland, and the silence the last 2 days, it appears he's gone for a private meeting. And then why wasn't it communicated to the country that the president has gone for private meeting? And if he did go for private meeting, then why did he skip the bigger one, the United Nations General Assembly meeting where his colleagues were? The king runs a program, and it appears that the president will make an appearance at the King's Leadership Program. I think it's a charity organization that usually has an event at this time of the year, and there's a scheduled event where President Hakainde Hichilema will appear. But it appears his visit in London, in Scotland, and later back to London is private. But we'll wait for the state to tell us why there were no guards of ceremonies, why the ceremonies associated with receiving the head of state were missing. So here's a short video, then I'll play the so-called list by our dear brother, Dr. Zumani, the MP, and then Nakachinda, then we close. God bless you. And thank you, Honorable Brebner Changala.
Much and the fundamental issues have already been raised by President Sean Campbell. This list is an expanded list of the Council of Leaders of the Tonsia Alliance, which was worked through during the period of January to the month of March 2023. His Excellency, 2025, sorry. His Excellency, Wallace in South Africa, he did dedicate a lot of time through my office to contact all the council leaders and to engage them to find out the specific roles he thought they would play in the Council of Leaders. And he did assign titles and responsibility to each person. Above all, he did go beyond that, because it is the expanded Council of Leaders to identify a number of PF members of parliament, a number of PF members of Central Committee, as well as some of the PF council chairpersons and other PF supporters or stakeholders, to integrate them into the expanded Council of Leaders of the Tonsia Alliance. And of course, the acting president of the PF, Honorable Given Lubinda, is aware about this list, because on 3rd March 2025, His Excellency did assign me, and he did physically send me to go and meet him at his residence to discuss this list in detail, so that the acting president could also input. I would like to confirm that Honorable Lubinda, I met him for almost for some hours, and he had an input. After the death of His Excellency, of course, I also went back to engage him that we needed to go back to the list which His Excellency approved, because he was now the acting person. Last month, I had a detailed meeting at his residence once more to try to plan together and strategize on how best we could move the alliance together within the framework of the legacy and the vision of ECL. Today's
Okay, so good afternoon, fellow countrymen. We are members of parliament under Patriotic Front, and we are gathered here to just raise a concern that happened yesterday. Yesterday, everyone, I'm sure, is aware that there was a meeting that was supposed to have taken place. Whether legal or illegal, we feel that as members of parliament, one concerning item that happened, the violence and the thuggery that took place yesterday, we would like, as members of parliament from PF, to condemn in the strongest terms that as we go through the path of rebranding, we do not want to see that kind of behavior. And we hope that if indeed those that are involved are Patriotic Front members, we hope that the Secretary General will take remedial measures to ensure that discipline is maintained. Discipline is maintained in our party as we are preparing to go and have an elective conference. I'm sure that everyone is aware that we, as the Patriotic Front, are preparing to go for an elective conference, and therefore, we, in this transitional period, we hope that there will be discipline that will be maintained and unity. The Zambian people are depending on us as an alternative government. Therefore, we pray and make an earnest appeal to the leadership that is in place to ensure that there is discipline and unity and love in the party. This will ensure that we are also going to attract membership, because as we sit now, the Zambian people's hope is only in a united opposition. Therefore, we need to ensure that our youths are behaving in an environment and behaving correctly to show that indeed we are ready to take over the governance of this country. Whatever.
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers this morning, wherever you're catching us from, members of the press. I'm grateful for giving me an opportunity to speak to the Zambian people in this very short address. First, I want to, on behalf of the party, Patriotic Front, and Tonsa Alliance, register regret at happenings yesterday in relation to our members and cadres that disrupted a meeting that was held at Mr. Tembo's residence. Whether irregularly called or indeed perceived wrongs being occasioned, it is regrettable that we can be having incidences that the Zambian people have expressed in time past that they would not want to witness. The
Pamita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyo tabula kwibukisha kana depotimo